Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false. You knew that was false. For anybody who had never heard that before, that question is now planted into them, unqualified representation that Mr. Kohberger stalked one of the witnesses, and that's false. We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys, how's everyone doing this afternoon? Happy Friday. It has been raining all day. Actually, it's been raining since yesterday. And I'm glad that I had Slade go out and handle the front yard when I asked him to, because literally 30 minutes after he was done mowing the front yard, it started drizzling, and I hadn't checked the weather to even know that it was going to be doing any of that. So at least that happened. At least that happened. Okay. I do not know at this point in time if there is any updates on anything. I do not know if there's been any documents released on the page or anything like that. Let me check this real quick and see if they just so happen to unseal something or put something out here. They haven't posted anything, at least that I know of, since they did something with the restitution, which I guess we probably still need to go over. No, there is nothing. I have not checked my emails in a couple hours. Let me see if I have anything from Chief Dollinger. No. Okay, well, you know, I sent a very detailed email to Chief Dollinger regarding the audio with the 2024 motion to compel information. Everything that I said to Amber in the call that I posted is what I put in the email to Chief Dollinger. And that was the 28th at 11:43 a.m. that I sent him that email. So there's that. I'm going to end up having to just call to get his attention, I guess, which I didn't want to just like call on the spot, which is why I wanted to send an email so that he knew what I was talking about, where it was coming from. He could get with Amber to also, you know, correlate with her with everything that I have talked to her about. And nothing. Let me change this real quick. I had to buy a new keyboard this morning too, y'all. I don't know what happened, but I bought this like really awesome glow-in-the-dark typewriter type keyboard from Amazon back in June of last year. And it was like a gaming set that came with like this matching mouse, right? I don't know what the frick happened, but all of a sudden, all of my keys started pressing keys that aren't their keys. Like I'd press O and it'd be OU. I'd press K and it'd be H and K. I'd press N and it'd be N and a comma. And like, if you look at the keyboard, those aren't even like keys that are next to each other. There's like skips in between. I took the key puller out. I tried to clean everything out and nothing. There's no reason for me to have spent $50-something on that keyboard. It not even lasted me like a year. So I have a bad review to write. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think I even mentioned it yesterday when I was typing. It was acting all wild. Hold on, I gotta get this on here. Or even though we're not showing any of the book, but I changed it this morning for the David and Celeste Rivas live because that one's about a 14-year-old minor that was chopped into pieces by a freak, and I had to put a different kind of disclaimer on there. Alrighty. Thank you for the 10, JLL. Thank you for being in here. I'm so freaking glad it's Friday too. So glad it's Friday too. Thank you for the 5, Lori. How is everyone's week wrapping up besides it being rainy? Yeah, I saw it on Anjanette Levy's channel when she interviewed him. I showed it the other day. I'll probably end up going back through over there and grabbing it and putting it on the screen when we get to that section, because that is talked about a lot in this next chapter. This next chapter is going to have a lot to do with more of what Hunter said, more of what Warner and Nunes were talking about, and then how other reports started being created that also were not matching what was being said, which again is stuff that we knew. As inaccurate as a lot of the things that he is saying has been, which is, sorry, not sorry, you guys know, been a lot of a discredit to a lot of the other things, because he's getting things wrong that we know are factual, and it's difficult to believe what he is saying that we can't see, when the things we can see, he's not accurate. And we know that as a fact when it comes to certain things. Not everything, certain things. We're going to go over the part again where he says that Warner asks Nunes, how did you get there? Because a lot of people, myself included, remember hearing what's he got there instead of how'd you get there. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is more of like a perceptional opinion on a lot of this stuff when it comes to these quotes that he's claiming, because he's gotten some of these quotes wrong. He's gotten some of them wrong. I will also say that I do not like the way that he decided to write these chapters. If you know the case already, it's a difficult read, because like yesterday I was saying, why the hell are you not mentioning the fact that Josie and Lyndon are standing there? Because he's comparing Nunes on like official report to Nunes body cam. And in Nunes body cam, you can see Lyndon, you can see Josie, you know that they're there, you know the situation, and he's not mentioning that. He's also not getting it correct about who took the phone from Bethany, and that has nothing to do with Nunes' report. There's no reason for him to have that incorrect. We've never read a report that shows that it was Emily that took the phone call. We've never read anything that would say where he got that information from other than his incorrect perception, which again very much matters. It just very much freaking matters. So we're going to start at the beginning, because I understand the concept, but the camera was not a Ring camera, and that was something that we didn't know for a long time. And I mean, maybe if he put Homai Pro camera in the title, people wouldn't quite understand what he meant. So maybe that's why he left it as Ring Cam, because I'm pretty sure it's Homai Pro, isn't it? We're gonna pull up the reports. I'm pretty sure it's Homai Pro, which made it even more difficult to know how the damn thing worked when it came to who had access to what and what could have been done before the police actually grabbed the footage, because I'd never heard of that brand before in my life. I'd never heard of that brand before in my life. Okay, let's just go ahead and start with pulling up Nunes camera footage from Connor's channel. And again, I'll put a link for Connor's channel in the chat in case you guys have not subscribed or gone over there yet. Connor doesn't put any opinions or anything out there when it comes to any of the footage. I don't know who he is. I wish I knew who he was, because I feel like he knows them. Knew them. I don't know. I feel like he has a connection to the story somehow, because as soon as everything was FOIA-able, Connor went ham. Snyder body cam, every single part. Jack Showalter's phone interview, Gunderson, Nunes first responder body cam, all of that came from Connor's channel. He's been putting it overtime. Christie's Chaos has too, putting it overtime, getting all of these FOIAs and all of these interviews. I know that now they have Lakeland's. Jack Showalter's is now out there with no commentary on Christie. Yeah, Christie's Chaos 2 and on Connor's channel. This is what Connor's channel looks like if you guys haven't seen it right here. Yeah, he's not monetized. I tried to talk him into monetizing it just so that he could play like an ad in the very beginning and then ad at the end and not do any mid cuts, because I think that's what his concern was, just to help with the cost of the FOIAs, because for the longest time, like, he was just covering everything and we didn't know who he was or how to like donate money or anything like that. And as far as I know, Christie's isn't monetized either. And I really wish that they would monetize their channels, especially if they are going to continue doing this, not just for this case, but other cases, because they deserve to get paid for their time. And it's ad revenue from YouTube. You're not taking money from none of us to be monetized. I really wish that they would do it. I wish somebody would talk to them both. And so they can monetize their channels, because they deserve that. They deserve to be monetized. They've put a lot of work into this. Let's see, what is this one right now? Okay. Connor posted this 8 minutes ago. I'm glad I came over here and looked. Connor posted this 8 minutes ago. He asked MPD questions about the way that they've been redacting things. And remember, we have a hearing on the 18th for the EWU and Moscow PD lawsuit about all of these damn redactions. So he says, I had some questions as to why things are redacted the way they are, and I wanted to provide MPD's exact words and reasoning as to why things are redacted the way they are. The city's examination of records requested indicates that you are entitled to receive the requested records. However, some of the contents contained in the records are exempt from public disclosure because the information is personal in nature per this Idaho code. This means you will see or hear some information redacted in the records provided, such as date and month of birth, social security numbers, driver's license and driver's license numbers, the names of any minor children, initials of the child will remain, financial account numbers, employer identification number, business taxpayer identification number, personal address, phone numbers, emails, medical records, percentage, race, parentage, race, religion, sex, height, weight, and passwords are protected. Weight and passwords to protect the individual's identity. Okay. The city's examination of records also indicates that some of the contents are exempt from public disclosure because production of the contents would constitute a warrant of invasion of personal privacy. So this right here is what they like to give us the most when it comes to these interviews of people that are like closer to the case. Like when it comes to Maisie and Hunter, not going to happen. When it came to timestamps, not even text messages. When it came to the timestamps of Kaylee and Jack, no, not going to happen. So now we just paid $313 with fees for the Jack Tukor interview from 11/17, where the phone call and stuff is talked about, and he gets caught, for lying about like not being honest about it. And how much of that's going to be redacted? How much of that's just going to be a bunch of blanks? I know from people talking about the Jack Showalter interview that there's like a bunch of redactions. Lakeland's even has like more redactions than it should. They're charging us like the more that a FOIA costs, the more information they're taking from you. Because again, you're not really paying for the size of the file technically, even though the size of the file usually does indicate how long they have to sit there to do the redactions. But you're paying for the time it takes for them to actually do the redactions. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's so stupid. Okay, so we're going to pull back up Noon's camera because the very first thing that he starts talking about, which again is already in chapter 1, but he starts off chapter 2 with the same thing. And I will say this. He's wrong also about the camera footage being out into the world. When he's talking about frame by frame on Noon's body cam, how you can see him, how you can see Warner walking around to the side of the bed where Mogen's leg is, and then also how Noon's returns and blah, 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 blah. His statement on page 58 is a frame-by-frame analysis of the video widely available online shows there's no K-bar sheath where the prosecution claims. Sir, everything that was put out to the public is redacted. So why would you put that in the book knowing that the public that reads your book cannot publicly go out there and watch a frame-by-frame of this footage because we have silence and black screen? So he's putting like a false, hey, you can verify this in this book when no, you can't, which isn't really cute. And if he really does have access to this unredacted footage that shows that, he needs to just release it. And I understand not wanting to show the girls' bodies. That's fine. Do whatever you got to do to not show us that if you really feel the need to, which I don't really see how horrible it was either, honestly. I don't. But if you're trying to tell us that no one is seeing the sheath in the footage, then Warner's and Noon's for that section of being in the room and that like 45 seconds of them interacting with that room all together, they need to release it because we can't verify that unless they do. Right now, it's just his perception, and right now, a lot of his perception has been wrong. Makes it really frustrating. Okay. So let's pull up the one that is actually wildly available. I'm going to change the thumbnail to. I'd meant to do that before. Widely available online. No, it ain't. No, the frick it ain't. Okay. So let's go back to here where we have black boxes and silence. And I will also mention, too, that he does talk about how you can hear the plunk of the knife on the table after Noons has turned away. He never once mentions how the damn knife is on the floor. He's talking about how Emily walks up the stairs and how the body cam shows this, that, and whatever else when it comes to Noons. Nothing about the damn knife being on the ground. He's questioning Hunter Johnson's story about getting the knife out of the kitchen like we all have. He never mentions the fact that it's on the floor. Unless for some reason, in the way that his weird strategy is here, that he mentions it 5 chapters down the line when it no longer matters, he's not mentioning the fact it's on the ground. And if he's going to say the sheath is on the ground with some handwritten note, he should at least be saying, hey, you remember that knife Hunter Johnson said he had? That damn thing was on the floor too. Here it actually is in proof we can see in a body cam, unlike what he's saying about the sheath. Okay, I guess we'll start from right here. Pull this way. Oh. I hope something shakes with that EWU meeting. And they have to change things. What is happening? I must have missed something. Not like there's like arguing or anything. There's just like something. That I feel like I missed that's important. Hold on. Oh, there's something going on with Becca. Huh. Holy shit. A misdiagnosed heart problem. Well, that's horrible, but I'm glad that you were persistent and you knew that something was wrong and you kept going. Because these doctors today don't seem to give 2 shits, do they? I'm sorry to hear that. It's not shocking. I mean, it's pathetic how common it is these days for especially women with heart problems. A lot of women will go to the emergency room having chest pain, arm numbness, pains in their jaw, and get told, oh, it's just anxiety or it's just indigestion. And then the whole time they're having a damn stroke. Oh, that's crazy. That is super crazy. I'm sorry to hear that. Stupid ass doctors. Stupid ass doctors. You too? Oh my God. Becca and JLL. Oh my God. Not choosing surgery. 2.5 weeks ago? Ma'am. Not gonna lie, that's how I told my kids I was gonna go. if I ever got like cancer or anything, I don't want all the crazy stuff. I'm just gonna let it take me, and then I'll peace out myself if I have to. Like it'll be like a party type thing. I get it. Oh my God. I hate humans. Like I hate the fact that we're humans and we get like sick and we get things wrong with us and we just never know what's going to happen and everything is so freaking unpredictable. I hate it. I know that I'm not the only one, especially in this group, that have like just sat back and thought like, what the frick is going on? why is this reality? Why is this the way that we were created? Why is this the way that things happen? Why, if this is supposed to be this way, how come we get these sicknesses and we get these things wrong with us? I think about a lot of stuff a lot, especially since Ariel. Oh my God. Well, I sure freaking hope everything goes freaking beautiful for your next Tuesday operation. Oh my freaking God. Yeah, because it makes you look like you're about to have a stroke even harder. No joke. Oh my God. I sure hope that everybody's stuff. Don't die. You're not going to die. It just sucks. It sucks having, we're here in the true crime world because we know that death happens tragically like this. Unexpected, crazy shit, no answers. But then there's the medical side of stuff where it's not so sudden and it sort of like looms there and you just don't really know. Oh my God, you just got diagnosed with cancer. It is so freaking scary. It happened like, yeah. Okay. Well, damn, guys. Not for me, because I'm in both. That's my career is medical and my hobby is crime. I'm right in the middle. Well, I hope everybody's stuff works out the way that it's supposed to work out. I don't really know what else to say about that. It's just, that's sad. But I'm glad that you guys are here and y'all feel comfortable being here and you feel comfortable telling us. I understand not wanting to tell like your kids. I get that. I mean, that's scary. That's a scary conversation to have. But I'm glad that y'all are comfortable enough to be here and be open. Oh man, guys. Holy shit. Okay. Let's try to let's get back to what everyone's here for, because obviously this is a distraction for a lot of people. So let's just get to it, because I know that y'all are here to hear me yell and scream and complain. So let's just do it. All right, let's start listening to this. This is where he is claiming in the footage that what we do not hear is Nunes saying to Warner that he thinks that Ethan is the one who took his own life. And Warner, according to Chris, says, "How did you get there?" And what we hear is what's he got there. So I'm going to turn on the captions for this one since I'm playing it from Connor's channel. And let's see if we can hear possibly how'd you get there? But for the majority, we definitely hear what's he got there. So let's take a listen.
Please. Fuck.
It makes a lot of really good points about the
slow down.
Too. Actually, the way
just come here. There's two. Looks like fatalities. Fuck. Dude.
Okay. We might have to switch over to Warner. Because in one of these, we hear what's he got there. Is it Warner's he says it in? It's definitely redacted right here. I'm letting it play. Yeah. So Noons actually doesn't say any of this in the redacted version that we have. So it's Warner's that we hear him say, what's he got there? So let's go to Warner's real fast. I'm glad that Connor has all these on here because it'd be hell to go back and forth on channel to channel with these raw versions of these. Where's Warner? Warner 1. Let's see.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back here.
Okay.
Warner. The knife's already been picked up and put on the table at this point.
Dude. What's he got there?
Yeah, sorry, Home Skillet, you're wrong. For some reason, the closed captions are not available for this one, even though it's been uploaded since September 29th, 2025. That's crazy. Yeah, he definitely says, what's he got there? Not how'd you get there. Take another listen. It's definitely what's he got there. What's he got there, yeah. Clear as day, yeah.
Dude.
So this must be where Noon is saying it.
What's he got there?
That's a W, Home Skillet. I mean, I understand that you're a little bit older and you're retired, homeboy, but you think that you would have had somebody actually double check your shit before you put it in here, trying to claim that something's wrong. You are wrong as hell. He is not saying how'd you get there. So if he is saying, geez, see what I mean, bro? If he's trying to say that Warner is saying how'd you get there after he says, I think he might have deleted himself, and we can't hear that portion of that, how are we supposed to believe that's what Noons actually just said? Now we don't know for even further. Totally reckless. Now we don't know even further. Exactly. He says he is hearing it from, let's see. Yes, because it starts at the bottom of this page right here at the very beginning. And it says, unfortunately for us, Noon's body camera footage tells us an incorruptible story. No matter what he typed in his report, we can now go back and re-examine the difference between what the evidence shows and what seems to have gotten lost in translation. It switches to the next page, and instantly that's where he's wrong. So yes, not only is it not Noon's body cam, it's Warner's, but that's not what the frick he says at all. So he's double wrong, and we are 3 paragraphs into chapter 2, guys. Love it. Love it. My God. One day I will write a book and show them how it is done. One day. Holy shit. It is Warner's camera footage, and that is not what he says. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay. Then he puts down here, when prosecutor Bill Thompson handed Kohberger's legal team their mountain of forensic analysis, it did not mention that Ethan Chapin, one of the first victims, was initially thought to be a suspect. I mean, it's interesting that we don't see more workup on that, considering that they didn't have a press conference for 3 days and they had to like alleviate that. Yeah. Not like alleviate it, but like roll it out eventually. And we know now from Connor putting out Officer Morris's body cams, the body cams of like the door entries late at night, the horrible souvenir comment. And again, I understand the humor that eventually does like sort of take over a very dark career. Like I get that, but that souvenir comment was uncalled for. There's a level. There's a line, and it was definitely crossed. But in that footage and where we're seeing the body bags come out, where it's Ethan and Xana being removed, they're also talking about it a lot in that footage about how Ethan could have been the one, blah, blah, whatever. Like, they're having the conversation for hours after the fact. So I will say I do agree that it's interesting that there's no paperwork, like opinion paperwork or anything to show that they actually ruled that out. I do find that interesting. So then he starts talking about Warner's report. And remember, we did a video, we did a live where we noticed that there was a portion about the conversation that happened with Hunter Johnson regarding the knife and who took responsibility for it and who wrote it in their report. And then there was like a mix-up in the camera footage then too. So again, I guess just like the irony of him also doing the same thing while talking about the same thing is a little crazy. Okay, so then it says that in Warner's report, he made no mention of Ethan dying by self-deletion or anything else about the horrific scene in Xana's room. Well, we also can't guarantee now that something about Ethan self-deleting was even said, because you have what Warner said wrong. So let me pull up the reports. I don't remember which number Warner is, but it's one of the top ones. Yeah, this was the general narrative from Gunderson. Okay, here's Smith. Warner right here. Number 2. Okay. So right here it says, I walked out of the bedroom towards Johnson and saw a clean steak knife on the beer pong table. Right here is where that says that. I pointed out the knife to Nunes. Johnson said he got the steak knife from the kitchen because he arrived and saw the female on the bedroom floor covered in blood and did not know if there was anyone else present in the room. Johnson said he checked the room with the knife for protection. Now remember, and we can go back on and look again. If you look in Nunes' footage, there is a knife right as Nunes up the stairs. He never once mentions in his interview. It is right here. He never once mentions, you can see the blade. There's the handle. Okay. Then we turn, nothing on the table. Okay. Now they go back to Warner. And you can see that when Warner comes up, it's not there. It is gone. And now on the table. We also hear the plop of it being put down. Oh, it wasn't showing. Hold on a second. I got to do it again. Okay. So let me go back to Nunes. I forgot to flip it. Okay. Let me go back to Nunes. Okay. And I don't know why he didn't mention this part in here because it's so important. And again, I don't know if he does later. It would be out of context, in my opinion, if it's done later. But we have also Emily's interview where she says that she saw it on the floor at the top of the stairs. So you're just going to see it right here. Now you can start to see the blade. The handle's a bit thicker. All right. Now we're going to turn, and you're not going to see it on the table. All right. Nothing's there. Go back to Warner. Right here. he goes up the steps for the first time.
Okay. Slow down.
Nothing there. Nothing there. And there it is on the table. Okay, there it is on the table. He then says that this is where he starts bringing up the points about how this was not taken seriously enough. And in my opinion, it wasn't either, because we have bodies that apparently were just stabbed to death. There's blood all over the place. You have no idea what's going on. You got a call for a weird reason that doesn't seem to match the crime scene. And you got homeboy standing there with his arms over his head. Weird. Weird. They didn't check the kitchen door at this point or any of that. We already know all that stuff. So then he says he mentions the report about Johnson saying that he goes into the kitchen to get the knife. But also remember that while we have the interview from Emily claiming that she did see a knife at the top of the steps before Johnson actually let her get onto the second floor, we also have Dylan and Bethany claiming that they never saw him go into the kitchen and do this. And all we see again is a knife on the ground. And his story doesn't make sense that he would have had that knife with him as he went to go check into Xana's room to see if anybody was in the closet or anything like that. If he is walking back towards the common area as Emily is walking up the step, and instead of the knife being in his possession as he's walking towards Emily, it's on the floor. So that story never added up after the cameras came out. None of it ever added up. Now, right here, it says Noon's body camera does record Hunter mentioning the knife as the two men leave Xana's room, but Noon seems to not have heard him. He is hearing him. He could hear him talk about it, but he's like, it's not, he never says he got it off the ground. He's mentioning the fact he got it in the kitchen, and he's mentioning the fact that he checked on Xana. We hear him say that he hasn't checked on Ethan yet. He is talking to him about it, but it definitely isn't something that's in Noon's, like, third eye, like, to really be paying attention to be really, really paying attention to. And again, you definitely should have been. Because you have no idea what's happening, and you've got a guy with a blade behind you, and you just walked in on a murder scene. And what? Like, even regular cop protocols, regardless, the on-guardness of these cops, survival instincts of a freaking sock. Like, seriously. Okay, it says this is a problem because the origin of the steak knife and the manner in which it was found were never properly explained. Despite discovery of the K-bar sheath on the third floor, which would, we should recall that even the prosecution admitted in the plea, no murder weapon has ever been identified, recovered, or named. Autopsy photographs suggest at least 3 different edged weapons were used in the 4 murders, and despite all the hype, no laboratory findings prove that a K-bar knife was one of them. This is true. Nothing that we've seen in way of reports has verified, validated, clarified, said for sure that a K-bar knife could have been responsible. It said even if Hunter did actually grab the knife from the kitchen for self-defense, the police should have treated it with suspicion, and they should have. They didn't even test his hands. They didn't do anything. I mean, they took pictures of his hands back and forth, but at that point, he had already like been heavy in his pockets, like moving his hands around in his pockets. Noon's report makes it clear that he did not. So now let's go open Noon's report, because I think this is the discrepancy that we had found where the reports were backwards. I think this is the portion right here. Okay, this is Warner. Noon's is going to be right here. Okay, this might be it. I might be wrong, but I think this is it. As I backed out the room, Hunter showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told Hunter to leave the knife and go back down the stairs to the front entrance. That is it. That was never said. I've never seen him say, I never in any of the cameras heard him say for him to go back outside until Warner gets there, and then Warner takes him outside. I just hear him constantly telling Johnston to get back, not to go outside. So where does he say that? Okay, well, this is where he also has it where it's Kaylee instead of Xana, but we know that that's not accurate. Okay, yeah, right here. He says right here that he tells him to go back out to the front, that to leave the knife and go back down to the front entrance, but he never says anything to him about the knife and going back outside from what we can remember. Let's go back and listen to that section up until Warner gets there, because he also says that Warner and Nunes left the scene for 1 minute and 7 seconds, and that's not true either. Nunes goes outside and grabs crime scene tape, but Warner doesn't leave the house. He stands at the doorway, the front entrance with Hunter outside of the house. He never leaves. So I don't know why he said that, because that's not technically true.
And I checked this read. Where at? Up here? Up here.
Right, he's just like, stay back. Oh, thank you for the $4.99 on you, Biz. Crime scene just as contaminated as the John Bonet case. That's one I would like to dig into. Oh my God. One like that has so many years of history and still no answers. You have to literally not be doing anything else with your life to dig into a case like that. So I can't do it until we got something happening answer-wise in this case. But one of these days, that and Madeleine McCain, Maura Murray, Kendrick Johnson's case. I mean, I have a list of probably like 80 names that one of these days. Isn't that wild? Crazy.
And I checked this read. And I didn't check them yet, but I'm 13.
Remember that, because he does bring up the fact that in Mallory's interview with Hunter, which we will be having to bring up to do validation checks, he does say that he checked on Ethan too, but we know that's not true from what he originally told Nunes.
And I checked this read. And I didn't check them yet, but I'm 13. Okay, get back.
Okay,
I don't know if they're still in here or not. It's really interesting. I grabbed the knife. They're like 1370. Okay, stay back there, please.
Stay back there, please.
Fuck.
Now the knife's on the table. See, he never tells him to go outside.
Slow down.
This was the portion that we did a live about.
There's two. Looks like fatalities.
And I was like, how did you get that wrong? If you're going back and you're looking at your own body cam, like, wouldn't you be able to tell that you said something and the other guy said the other thing? You know what I mean? We did do a live about this.
Dude.
Yeah, remember, this entire portion of Nunes is silenced, but in Warner's you can hear some of the sentences that are said. So I don't know why they chose to redact these sections differently when they're the exact same timestamps. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Yeah, they do. Faux shizzle, they do. Holy shit. Hey, Pony. Oh, for real. Oh, my God. Survival instincts of a sock.
All right.
Nunes isn't saying another word to him. He is going downstairs. He walks out.
Okay.
He goes to the car.
Nobody's allowed to leave for now. Okay.
Okay, so he did not say anything to Hunter about going outside. Again, I remember this exact live. I'll go back and check the date that we went over this, because I noticed this and I was like, hold on. I think there's a couple different things that we talked about that day. Okay, now we go to Warner's, and this is what we're going to hear Warner telling him, okay, don't touch it, and like gets him to go outside.
Dude.
What's he got there?
What's he got there? Definitely what? Homeboy is definitely wrong in this book about that section. Hiccups.
Make sure.
Yeah, there's
Sure. Okay, so we just heard make sure, and then Noon's voice, because it's in the background. This is Warner's body cam now. Say, yeah, and it sounds like he is the one who actually made the statement from chapter 1 about, hey, about, yeah, they are DRT. Dead right there. That sounds like that came from Noon's instead of Warner. One more time. And let me make sure I'm talking shit right. Hold on.
Make sure.
yeah, there's
Yeah, that's Noon that says that. Noon's that says that. All right, let me play this so that you can hear what he does actually say to Hunter. Warner, anyway.
You find them?
yeah. The roommates called me this morning to come check because they thought they saw.
Okay, so he does have it. He does have it in here that Noon's is the one that says they're DRT. Okay. Okay, so this is where the misconception is in who said what to who, because this is Warner, and he does mention that. I'm not saying this because Chris gets it wrong. Chris mentions that this is inaccurate.
You find them?
Yeah, the roommates called me this morning to come check because they thought they saw someone in here last night and they went into the rooms. I came over when they called
watching that.
and I opened the door and I saw that.
Okay. Let's go ahead and step downstairs here. Is there anybody else upstairs? Or anybody else
I don't know.
here? Don't touch anything. Don't touch it.
I grabbed that knife in the kitchen because when I went in there, I didn't know if there was something
Never
there.
mentioned it was on the shelf.
Okay.
I just grabbed it just to make sure.
Is that your ID with you?
No, I can tell you my name.
Okay. Sit right here.
And Warner never leaves.
Nobody else inside?
Is there anyone else inside?
I don't know. They should, if they were in there, they're up here on the side.
Stay here. Stay here.
Check upstairs.
1 second.
Okay. And again, he says right here that this section of the report is inaccurate. He says body camera footage also shows this statement seems to be false. Noons never mentions the knife, does not secure it, does not seem to acknowledge it in any way. This will prove important later in the day when the Idaho State Police Lab team responds to process the MPD warrant. Here we had another report, one written by Jeffrey Talbot. So now let's bring up Talbot's report because his report is in the Idaho State Police records. I think I already have it where I don't need to go and pull it. This should be it right here. Oh, God. Woo! Sorry. All right. Now his report will be the very top one. Right here. Now, I'm also questioning where Chris Whitcomb got his information for when it comes to Talbot's report. So he's sitting here telling us in the book that Talbot didn't write his report until December the 6th. Right here. Let me highlight it. That's not true at all. So right here is where it shows that Talbot's report was written on December the 6th. You can clearly see that the report was approved on 11/17/22. So how was it approved on the 17th if he didn't write it until weeks later? See what I mean? So where, Christopher, are you getting that this report was written on 12/6? Report date 11/17/22. So again, he's getting something wrong that's out there for the public to be able to pull up and look at. I don't know what he's talking about when he says that the report wasn't written until the 6th of December. We have it right here with the November 17th date. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I feel like I need to buy like a PDF version of this book and go in and make corrections in red ink and then send it off to his publishing team on every page, citing all of my proofs. Because, like, how do you get this wrong? Not the one he's talking about. He's saying that Talbot's very first report was not written until December 6th. Listen, it's important to note Detective Talbot did not file this report until December 6th, 3 full weeks after the search. This report was written and approved on 11/17. Because he's trying to say, oh, well, why is everything being done so many weeks later, which we already do have examples of that. But this was approved on 11/17. That means it's in the system by 11/17/22. I mean, I will, bro. I will. What are they saying in the Senate or whatever when they're arguing? I reclaim my time. Oh, shizzle, damn. Crazy ass. Wrong shit about literally everything. Because in this, it literally is just the report about him being assigned as lead. Like, that's basically all of this is right here on November 13th. Jeffrey Talbot was assigned as lead. And that's exactly what this statement is right here about December 6th. And again, this one was also approved 11/17. So why? That doesn't make no damn sense what he's trying to put in here when we can see that that's not right. Okay, so this is where he starts talking about the chain of custody issues. And I have a couple of different verbiages, I guess you could say, that I plan on FOIA-ing so that I can try to see a way to be able to get this information. Because if this is, and I know that we've seen a lot in this case, a lot. I don't know where. I don't know when. I don't know how. I know we've seen this damn paper before. I know we have seen what he shows Anjanette Levy here. I guess, is it on Law and Crime Network? Does she talk to him? Yeah. Okay, right here. I'm telling you, I feel like we've seen this. This looks so familiar. So freaking familiar. I don't know where. Like I said, I don't know, but I feel like we've seen this shit before. I know it's not Talbot. That's a chick's handwriting. And I forgot to email her back, but M. Catherine that's in here who says her mom is the lady with the short hair at the scene. She says she thought it actually might be her mom's handwriting. Some of y'all might have seen that. She posted something about it in the community tab. That she said she thought it looked like her mom's handwriting. So I guess it might be. I'm not sure. I haven't taken a look at it completely. Welcome, Sandra. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, this does say very vividly, item 14, which you already know is the sheath. Knife, K-bar sheath on floor next to victim 3. It does say that. But I also don't appreciate how he gave this example to them to show us, and it's not the full paper. It's not like they could have zoomed in, but they could have also shown us the full paper, the full receipt, and they don't. It's just the snippet. So this, because I have a feeling that they'll be able to send it to me, hopefully, before I'll be able to find it and all the thousands of documents that we have gone through. I mean, maybe I could go through some of my old videos and try to find it, but I know that we have read this damn thing because this Juul vape pen, like we've seen this. We have definitely seen this, and I'm damn well determined to find the full paper. Okay. He finds it interesting that apparently Ann Taylor didn't question anything about the report being late. Now, somebody said something about another page. So let me see what he has to say about this, because we see a report being approved 11/17. And see what I mean? Like, if you're talking about a report on page 54, why the frick are you having some more information about that one very small section of this entire bullshit 100 pages later almost? That's so stupid. Like, honestly, I feel like that's really dumb to like put them that far apart. That doesn't help anything. On December 6, 2022, Detective Jeffrey Talbot filed 6 separate reports. The first, as discussed earlier, details the methodology inventory timeline he conducted on November 13th. The second report, which is Supplemental 33, functions as a 2-page addendum noting that on November 14th at 11:24 a.m., ISP D2 personnel returned to 1122 King Road. Okay, so then this is what we'll do here. He's probably going to be named in like almost all of them. Oh, there's a big gap. Over here. Does it show y'all? Where's it at? Right here. Can y'all see all? Okay, so y'all see all the times his name has popped up? Okay. So this is the first one. This is the one where it says he's assigned the lead. The next one would be, I think it's the same thing. Yeah, this is the original supplement, like the original one. Page 1 of 1. Okay, so then here is Supplemental 32, where he starts getting into the entire story. And remember, this is the one where he says that the knife sheath was partially covered, where he says that Detective Blaker gave him information. This is also where the false statement of "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you" came from Talbot's report. And remember, this shit right here didn't make any sense to us, because at the time that we see Talbot and them getting there, he's claiming it's 2:41 p.m., but at this section of time, Brett, Payne, and Blaker are literally at MPD doing interviews. So for him to say that at 2:41, as he gets on the scene, Detective Blaker, who is not freaking there yet, tells him, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you." That's been a problem for us for a long time. We've talked about this since these reports came out. And I also think that, and unless it's repeated in John Lawrence's report, I think that he also has that portion wrong in the book as well. Because he has a piece of a report in here that says this exact statement about it being Kaylee's name that was mentioned. But he has it in here as it being John Lawrence's report. And I don't think that that's accurate, but we will double check, because I could easily be the one that's wrong. So yeah, I don't understand why this portion right here wasn't corrected, because that's not accurate at all. Especially knowing that Blaker wasn't even on the scene yet. Okay, so this is how many pages on number 32? Well, I mean, it's quite a few. So then he's saying on page 117 that there's another supplement number 33, which is the very next one. See, and this is where he has it typed out. See, that's why, like, he needs to clarify what he's talking about, because this is not Talbot's handwriting. This is a woman. And he is claiming this is being written by Talbot, the portion about the knife sheath being on the floor. But on 11/17, Talbot is writing a report up, and it's in type. And he's claiming that it's on the bed. So while this is obviously something that exists, this is not Talbot. This is not a man. This is a female that wrote this. So that portion, even in itself in the story he's trying to tell, has got to be wrong. Okay, he says number 33, which should be the very next one. Okay, it is by Talbot. And he says how they go back, which we already knew that, yeah. He does not list the reason for his return. It seems plausible he was back to document things found after the fact. Well, because what do you mean he doesn't list the reason why he goes back? It's an active crime scene, and they're the assisting agency. They were back a lot. What do you mean? Now the next one is number 35. Now this one is 12/6/22. What's this one? This one's also 12/6/22. So he's talking about not the original report. The original report where he has it typed up that the damn K-bar is exhibit number 14 and was on the bed. Okay? This report was approved on let's see. Or is this the one that actually has it on 12/6? Report date 12/6/22. Okay, so this is the 12/6/22 one. So then what's this other one that has 11/17 on it that has Talbot's name on it? Go up, go up, go up. Oh my God, there's like 1,000. Okay, there's that one. Go back up. 11/17. That's from Timothy Snell. Oh, okay, okay. This one does have a date of 12/16. Okay, see, I was wrong. This one does have a date of 12/16. So what he did was he went up and he wrote the report about him being the lead detective on the 17th. Why wouldn't you have sat down and done the rest of it at that point? Is a good point. Actually. Because if you've already written one, why aren't you sitting down and writing the rest of them? Because this one was still done on the 17th. Okay, so then he was right about that. What else does it say about his reports? The pre-evidence process video. Was he getting that video? The bodies would not be there anymore, but it wouldn't give us anything about the knife sheath because it was apparently picked up the day before. The pre-evidence video is in four sections. Broken up either through editing or in discrete stop-start segments into 4 distinct tapes. There shouldn't have been any editing in a pre-search video. That's not, you can't trust that shit at all. Pre-search 1, pre-search 2, pre-search 3. I don't understand that. There shouldn't have been a video of the inside of the house that was edited. It should have been one swoop. Should have been one swoop. Okay. So his original report claiming that he was the lead was on the 17th, but he didn't sit down to write the rest of his reports until the 6th of December. So he was accurate. Yeah, I think it can. Plus, I know they're claiming now that there was some sort of what is the word I'm looking for? My brain just went blank. Something will eventually make it come back. Okay. So then he starts talking about, where's it at? He does have stuff about the snap in here too, which I wish we had more clarification on. Okay, this is the portion I need some clarification. This is the part where this stuff right here matters, okay? Though Detective Talbot made no mention of it in his December 6th report, he had already composed and logged a separate handwritten inventory contemporaneous to the search. On November 13th, 2022, he filed a 4-page evidence property receipt documenting what he discovered and seized at the house. This is the form he filled out with a pen as he was bagging and tagging items pursuant to MPD's warrant. Unlike the December 6th supplemental, this form was completed at the scene. But again, this looks like a chick. This looks like a female's handwriting. And I'm telling you, we've seen this somewhere. I'm determined to find it. It just looks way too freaking familiar. I just don't think this is his handwriting. I need him to produce the whole document that shows Talbot's handwriting on it, because we know that when, let me see if I can pull up an example. I'll pull up the forensic docs. We know that when they're done signing, like when they're done with the inventory reports, that they sign at the bottom everyone that was included, and that the majority of the checklist is done in handwriting. I just feel like it would have been like towards the top maybe. But I want to show y'all like how they do sign stuff. I just don't think that this is his handwriting. But we also can compare it because we do have some handwritten records in the ISP files. Let's see if I can find them with the scroll through so that maybe we can compare it. But I don't even know if Talbot's handwriting would be on the ISP forms. Like, because it's all the forensic lab. I've gone through all of these like 1,000 times just trying to find something that's handwritten besides that one grid of paper. Because we have all the MPD reports and there's no graphs or anything like that in there. Nothing that was attached to anything. I'm trying to see if I can get to something that looks different. Okay, example. You see the handwriting on the knife sheath stuff? I believe this is Tara. Is this not Tara? Or is it Stephanie Wilt? Stephanie Wilt is this person. And here's the handwriting for her. Do they look similar? Check the A's. Where's the A's? Maybe. Okay, so if you look at the A, and I'm not a freaking expert already, but I'll tell you this. When my mom's ex-husband died, we found a lot of documentation to prove that somebody had been forging his signature. And after a whole bunch of lawyers looked at it, my mom had looked at it, a whole bunch of people looked at it, nobody noticed it but me. And then whenever I actually brought it to the attorney's attention, they sent it to an expert, and look who was right. So I'm not an expert, but I do have an eye for detail, and I've been right in a very important situation before. Not to say that I'm going to be right here, but the A right here looks like the A over there. Like the way that her A dips down. I mean, I know a lot of A's dip down, but this could be her handwriting. This could be the Stephanie girl's handwriting. But this handwriting right here, it seems like it's a lot more neat, slowed down. So maybe it's not. I'd really like to see, like, see how, like, very calligraphical, made up a word, that this looks. No, it might not be the same. Yeah, let's look at the letters. Okay, yeah, there you go. I didn't even think to look at, the numbers. I didn't even think to look at the numbers. Yeah, this person does, well, honestly, and I think y'all are right. I do it both ways. The curvy loopy two, and then the other two, I do both just depending on the mood I'm in. I have like 30 different handwritings, not even gonna lie about it. But y'all are right, it's definitely different. Oh, I did the wrong button. No, I didn't. Yeah, it's definitely different. The twos are very different. The twos are very, very, very different. Okay, let me see if I can find another thing that's been handwritten. I'm just like going by quickly, and I don't want to make y'all all motion sick. So let me just get that going again. Okay, so now we're at the fingernails. It's the same girl's handwriting from before. Here's all the DNA work that we went through in that previous video. I just don't know why it wouldn't be in here. Regardless of if it was Talbot, which I don't think it was, or if it was someone that worked at the lab that was there at the scene. I don't know why they wouldn't have had that paper in here, but I'm telling you guys, we've seen that damn paper before. You know what might help? The paperwork from the search warrants at his apartment and his office might help a lot, actually, because ISP was sent to go help. Okay, so this is Haley Younglin. It's different twos. We know Tara was helping as well. Okay, so here's someone that has the loopy twos. Oh, that's Dawn Daniels. It wouldn't be her touching that stuff at the lab or in Idaho. Let's see if I can see anything right here. Watch your eyes, guys. I'm just going to stop when I see some handwriting. When it comes to like a chart. Unless that's like the last one. Saw the PCA. I mean, the PCA is in this drop of files twice, taking up a lot of space. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else handwritten in here. This is Officer Garza's handwriting from Pullman. Okay. So there's nothing in there. I just don't know why it wouldn't be accessible. But maybe because it was all given over to MPD. I don't know. I'm determined to find the damn thing, though, so I'm just going to filing a FOIA for it. But it's not Talbot's. So I don't know how I'm supposed to ask for it, I guess. I guess just the Idaho State Police's inventory report for all of the exhibits that were taken during the crime scene evidence collection. Idaho actually responds pretty quickly to FOIAs. So maybe I'll file that tonight. But I just wish we had clarification on who it was, because I don't think at all that that's Talbot. Okay. But all of these things are important, that there's all these discrepancies, because the state has said for the longest time that this sheath was all they had. Because the DNA on the sheath was all that they had. And even at the end of the day, after everything was said and done, everything else they claimed to have had, they didn't have. He admitted that himself. Xana admitted that himself. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The prosecution admitted that. That's so freaking important here. It's not even funny. Now, again, he is in here mentioning the snap when it comes to where the DNA was found. And I need to also FOIA ISP about the resubmission. Because that resubmission showing that the Q-tip was like checked off as a resubmission was such a huge deal. It was such a huge deal. Because that was the Q-tip that they claimed that his DNA was on. And there's no paper trail for what happened to the first one. But we know that the documents, like the stuff I just showed you with the knife sheath on it, nothing about a snap is mentioned. It's all about the strap. Every single bit of it is about the strap. We have gone in and Control F to search for words. We've looked at their written word. There's nothing in there. And again, that was a huge topic of conversation because of the brass and the way that brass degrades DNA and changes it. So if we go right here and you type in strap, I'm pretty sure it's going to pop up. Unless it's just handwritten. I don't think it's handwritten though by itself. Let's type in sheath real quick. Okay. The word sheath is only mentioned in these 2,300 pages a few times. See? Strap. The original swabs right here. Strap. Handle. Blade portion. Swab of the stains on the back. There was nothing at all about a snap. It talks about the fact that it has one. But when it comes to the swabs, again, it's all about the strap. They never mention touching the brass, which is so important. So if he has other information about that, that would be interesting to see. See? Used one swab to swab front strap. That was one of the biggest Mandela effects as soon as everything came out. One of the biggest problems. So then he says that the only way to really answer what could have maybe happened with the sheath is to go back in and question more things when it comes to Hunter. Which is technically true because Hunter has a lot of answers to the way that the place actually was. So now let me pull up Lawrence's report. Does the PCA say snap? I'm pretty sure. Let me check. I feel like it does. But it's also on a lot of documents. They've said it in court. Like that's the word that they used several times, and Taylor herself. Yeah, it sure does. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. Not just the snap word being used, but also button. Yeah, we talked about that. Let's see when we can, if I can find the video where we talked about that. Okay. Let me pull this up and go to the where I'm showing the document for those that might not have seen it. I don't know where they're at. Oh, it was in a lot. Okay, right here. Okay, so this is a video that I premiered back on December 14th, 2025. This was after some more information had came out from like their records. Notice right here, it says swab a front strap and resubmission is marked. See that? that swab is apparently where the DNA came from. Because notice it says lab number 1.1. Okay. This is something that we've been questioning for a super long time because they have no paper trail for the reason why suddenly it's going from the strap on the actual forensic documents, everything in way of forensic documents, to all of a sudden the strap is no longer existing and everything came from the snap, S-N-A-P. And that doesn't make sense because there's no paper trail for how that happened. And again, this is 1.1, the resubmitted DNA. The only thing they have on him. And there's no paper trail for why this had to be resubmitted or what happened to the original. At least not that we've been able to decipher, in my opinion. So I'm going to FOIA the handwritten paperwork from ISP. And then he says, okay, so then the book goes on to say, we need to understand that Talbot was not the first outsider to enter the house. It was not even Nunes or Warner. It was Hunter Johnson, which that's just the only one that we've been told of. We don't really know what the hell else was going on, especially since we know that front door was open, according to the neighbor's report. So is this the one that has, I think this is going to be the one that has Lawrence. Is this MPD? Yeah. John Lawrence, because we have Lawrence Mowry and then we have John Lawrence. Okay, so this one right here is Lawrence's report. I think this is the only one that he writes. He's the older gentleman that's kind of like Lanier's age that's at the scene. Kind of see him at the scene, but you don't really see him a lot else, a lot anywhere else. Let's see, which number is this? Because he says, okay, so this is number 7 for John Lawrence. Okay, what he's talking about now is Mowry's supplemental 42, where he has done his interview with Hunter. So now let me pull that up and then we will go on to the interview with Hunter and re-listen to some pieces. Right here. Okay, so now let me go back to Connor and we will pull up Hunter's interview. Only 16 minutes long. And we have yet to see another one. I need to go in and see if which report shows that they went back and talked to him, because I know damn well there's no way Idaho State Police didn't speak to him separately. There has to be a separate one from ISP for Hunter Johnson. There just has to. There just has to. Okay, so this is where he has Lawrence Mowry's report talking about everything that Hunter had apparently said and the differences between what Hunter said and what's in the report. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing this, and I'll pause it when he's talking about the differences in here, which a lot of this stuff we've been calling out for a while.
What's your first name? Hunter, what's your middle initial now? And what's a good phone number for you? And what's a good address for you? Okay. So you do not live at the house, right?
No.
Okay. So what do you got for me? What do you know?
It was like right around noon, maybe just before then, but called my girlfriend that she thought something was not right in her house, and she heard and saw a man in their house last night, and she wanted us to come over, like make sure everything was okay, because they just locked themselves in their I think is what they said. And so I was the first one to get over there. I left pretty quickly because I just wanted to make sure, and I got over there and I walked up the stairs.
Let's keep that portion of this in mind too. He didn't go over there with everyone else, with his chick, with Josie, with Lyndon. He hightailed it the hell over there before he really even knew like what was going on, what was being said. He just took off.
And I immediately went into Xana's room, which was the only room I went into. I went up the stairs, saw them. Were pretty uncontrollably crying and didn't know what was going on. Sure. And I told them to get out of the house.
See, the point that's being made about that part right there, how he says how Dylan and Bethany were like uncontrollably crying while saying that they didn't know what was happening, is what are you crying for? Like, if you didn't know that they were dead, what are you crying for? Why are you uncontrollably crying? And the same thing about when Josie and Lyndon and Emily show up. They're already outside at this point because Hunter's told them to get outside, and they're crying with their hands over their faces. But at this point, all we've been told is that Hunter saved them all kinds of trauma by not telling everyone what he saw. So then what are Dylan and Bethany crying for so uncontrollably if they're sitting there saying that they don't know what happened? It's a great point.
Called the cops, and I went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife from the drawer because I didn't know if someone was still in the house or not. And I grabbed the knife. It's probably still on the
notice he changed his
little table they have in the living room area.
And he doesn't mention it was on the floor.
Upstairs?
Like in the middle, like where the kitchen level, that level.
There's like a little area there.
Yeah, there's an area, and I put the knife there after, but I grabbed the knife and I went into the room and I checked like the closet and everything to make sure there was no one in there. It didn't seem like anyone was in there. And then I
Okay.
Shoot, I forgot the other guy's name. Sorry, this is just a lot. What's his name? That's his name. They all came into the house. They were coming up the stairs, and I told them, get out. They do not want to come in. They need to get out. And
Emily saw the knife on the
that's
floor.
when you guys roughly showed up around the scene, was when I told them to get out.
No, okay.
And then one of the policemen came, and I showed him.
In that section right there where there's silence, according to the report that Chris Whitcomb put in here, he says that Hunter says something about the door being partially open. This is Dylan's interview. Oh my God, guys. Okay. Is this the right one? Because I had the December 6th thing wrong. So let's make sure that I got this one right. It says on November 28th, which is right here, MPD Officer Lawrence Mowry filed supplemental number 42, which is right here, for results of interviews conducted at 11:22. And it starts off, he's wrong. It starts off saying that this is Hunter Johnson's interview. You see Hunter's name? Supplemental number 42, Hunter's interview. This is Dylan's interview. This is Dylan's interview. So he has supplemental number 42 in his book as being Lawrence Mowry's interview with Hunter Johnson, but supplemental number 42 is Lawrence Mowry's interview with Dylan Mortensen. This one's dated 11/28. It's right here. There's not multiple interviews in this supplement. This is all Dylan. Oh no, you're right. Here it is right here. Now, why the hell would he write it like that? I don't remember it being that way. Okay, you're right. Here's Hunter's right here. These should have been separated out. Holy shit. These should have been separated out. Okay. So then where does he say something about the door being partially open? Okay, right here. This part is interesting because the point is that Dylan has already claimed that she saw Xana at 4:20 in the morning, and that when she saw her again 8 hours later, she hadn't moved position. But Hunter is saying that the door was only partially open, and then he had to open it. So how did Dylan see Xana? Was able to describe what she was wearing, was able to describe the way that she was laying, was able to describe what she saw in the room, and then tells the officers that 8 hours later she sees Xana again, and she knew something had to have been wrong because she hadn't moved, and she knew that because she looked like she was in the same position she was 8 hours before, but he's having to say that the door had to be open. Not that it was closed all the way, but that it was partially open. I mean, the majority of that can be explained in Dylan's movements, but I don't think that he put all of the movements in here. I feel like there's especially stuff missing because for the time frame where she's apparently going downstairs, there's no movements listed. See how there's no movements listed for that time frame? They have her data for 8 o'clock in the morning. They have her data for 9 a.m. But when she goes down, there's no movements calculated of her going down a flight of stairs or moving at all. So that's why I said I don't know if he actually has every movement of hers in here or if it's just selective. Just selective. See, and that's what we've always been told too, was that she was completely visible. So that part is crazy because, again, Dylan saw her clear as day, enough to say she hadn't moved in 8 hours, and that's when she was concerned. Okay. So then it says, okay. Okay, there's the portion about the door. Okay, so let's listen to what else he said.
Where I saw them, and he just said, "Stay where you're at." And I said, "Okay." And I didn't know if there were any more people upstairs. I didn't go up there.
Okay.
The cops came as soon as.
What, did you go to this party last night?
No.
Okay.
I was talking with Ethan. I have a text from him most of the night. We were talking because he wanted me to come, and I didn't really want to walk all the way over there.
Yeah. The Sigma Chi party?
Yeah.
The text messages, were they just through Messenger or they through?
Just, normal message. iMessage or whatever.
You got your phone on?
No, I didn't go grab it though.
Where is it?
It's just in there.
I'll do that in a sec. So how do you know Ethan?
I met him during Rush in college. It's where you like try to go into a house.
Is Ethan part of a fraternity? He is. Okay.
Yeah. And I met him there during Rush, and I've known him ever since the fall of last year.
Okay. Are you in a fraternity now?
I'm a grad student. I don't live in the house anymore, but I was in.
Okay. Is that what they call whatever it was?
That's a sorority.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know any of these names.
So okay.
Okay. So your girlfriend,
Yep.
right? So she gets a call from
But it was Josie just
around noonish.
hardly at all before
Basically
that.
says that there was somebody in the house. She tells you. So you head over to the place.
Yeah, it was on speakerphone, so me heard it, and
Okay.
we all kind of got up and we're gonna go check on him.
The same sorority? Is that how they know each other?
Yeah, they're also roommates.
Okay. And where's is he just
He's in a he's in a fraternity, but
Which his portion of the interview gets brought up too.
he is like seeing right now. So
Okay.
he was just saying he stayed the night over at their apartment. I stayed there and she stayed there. So I was in her room and he was in her room.
okay? What time? So I'm trying to figure out who's who now. I did not go to the party last night, right?
No.
That was the one I'm thinking of. There was another vowel name there that I was getting up. Okay, so you and Aaron go to the party.
No.
You guys just hang out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then other than you walked up the stairs
When I walked into the house and like entered the code to get into the house, they were in, which is on the very bottom floor, like right next to
the front, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean that they were in the spare room? Listen to that part again, because this is a part of this that was kind of confusing. The way that he describes it, it doesn't sound like he's talking about them being in Bethany's room,
which is on the very bottom floor, like right next to
the front, right?
Yeah.
right next to the front. So one more time.
And then other than you walked up the stairs
when I walked into the house and like entered the code to get into the house, they were in, which is on the very bottom floor, like right next to
the front, right?
Yeah.
It's blocked out. It's blocked out like he's saying Bethany's name, but then the location he's giving is giving spare room. No, there was not a padlock on the spare room. There was a padlock on like a maintenance room. So when you walk into the house, there's the stairs that go up to the second floor, and then there's the spare bedroom. Right, like as the stairs are meeting the floor, across the hallway area is the bathroom. And then you go down the hall again, and before you get to the end where Bethany's room is on this side, there's like a utility maintenance closet that has like the hot water heater and stuff like that for like the heating system and stuff like that. That had a lock on it. But no, not the spare room.
and like entered the code to get into the house. They were in, which is on the very bottom floor, like right next to the
front, right? Yeah.
So maybe just because like he interrupts him, but like I know he says Bethany's name, but then the way that it's being described here is at the front. So that's Mallory's fault, actually, because he's interrupting for something that he really has no idea about, because at this point he hasn't been to the house. He has no idea about the layout. So he probably should have just let the man talk and not interrupted him at that section.
And they heard me come in and they like were like, oh my God. And I was like, it's just, what's going on?
Okay.
And that's when I walked upstairs and they're like, we don't know what's going on. And I checked it out. And
How did you get the code to the door?
we just know it because we're all friends.
Okay. When was the last?
Now, this part that he mentions about this is about the neighbor. And this is where I wanted, and we've done this before, but we're going to do it again. This is where I wanted to pull up the camera footage. That shows the guy walking the dog. Now, this says that the report has it happening between 9 and 10 in the morning, and then he comes back around 11. And again, we've watched it. Here's 10 to 11. Here we go. Right here. Here's 9 to 10. I don't remember exactly when the guy walks by. Let's see if I can sort of see it in this like speed up. Because I have it at 3x right now, but I'm also kind of like going down. Maybe go to the end. Because he's gone for like an hour and then sees the door again around 11. Connor's middle name is Keith. Connor's not a woman. Connor's definitely a male. Because his page is verified and his name is on there. Connor's definitely. Why do I feel like it was 9:17? That would make him out walking way quicker than he needed to walk in. Does he mention the timestamp? Let me see if he mentions it in here. Because we definitely saw him walking. My son is singing Luke Combs. See, there's the cigarette guy that came out to smoke. I guess he forgets I'm on live and his door is open. He's loud. You might hear him. He's singing Beautiful Crazy while he plays video games. Okay, there's the SUV. Just gonna skip through shit like this. It might be closer. It might be in the 10 o'clock one. Like right at the very beginning. Okay. So if that's the case, then we'll go here. Because I have them all posted in raw footage. Holy shit, it's opening up right to 10:08. That tells me that we've already watched it, that we already saw it, and we knew exactly where it was. There he is. What? Hey, right here. It opened right up to 10:08. That tells me we definitely looked at it. So he's passing by right here. And this is where they're claiming that he has already looked over and seen that the door is wide open. It says Justin Nadeau, and it states that on Sunday, 11/13/22, between 9 and 10, which we see that it's between 10 and 11, he first noticed the front door to 1122 King Road on the north side of the building facing campus was wide open. He stated he knew it was a party house, so assumed someone was too intoxicated and forgot to close the door the night prior. Nadeau stated he walked his dog up Taylor Avenue to Blake Avenue, then down Sweet Avenue. He said the walk took him approximately 1 hour. Nadeau stated that when he walked back to his apartment around 11 o'clock, the door was still wide open. The door was still wide open. Yeah, he was right on the money with the timestamp because it's her. And there he goes. So let's see. Do we notice him coming back at the end of this, or do we need to pop it up on 11? I just want to make sure. Oh, there he is. There he is, coming back. Right here. So again, around that 11 o'clock hour, between 10:04 and 10:23, Dylan is sending and receiving several messages on Snapchat with the contents being unknown. And at 11 o'clock, as he is walking back towards his house, is when they have Dylan going up 2 flights of stairs. I definitely believe that she was up there doing stuff and that damn door was wide open. There's no reason for him to lie. He could be mistaken. Could be. But there's no reason for that person that's innocent and has nothing to hide to lie about the door being open. You know?
And then you were over at
The last time before today was
yesterday. Okay. And what were you doing over there yesterday?
We were pre-gaming the football game for the families.
Gotcha. Was that there?
No, she was at work at the football game.
Now, I will say that I don't think that Hunter is being misleading when he says that he hadn't gone into any other room, even though he does claim that he went into the kitchen. Because to me, a room is like a bedroom. So just like in my personal opinion, I don't feel like him not mentioning, or how do I put this? I don't feel like Hunter claiming that he didn't go into another room. I don't feel like that's a lie, considering that he also went into the kitchen, because that's a kitchen in my brain, and to like my kids too, like they wouldn't consider that a room, quote unquote. And that's something that is shown in here as something inconsistent. And to me, it's not inconsistent. What's inconsistent to me about that story is the fact that the knife's on the floor and he never mentions a word. He never mentions a word. But this is where he also puts in the book what we just mentioned about the discrepancy in Dylan's first-person experience that she's claiming to have had in the 4 o'clock hour, looking straight at Xana and then admitting that she sees Xana again. He said the door to Xana's room was partially open when he approached, but that directly contradicts Dylan's statements that she saw Xana lying on the floor as she went downstairs. Hunter said Bethany and Dylan were uncontrollably crying when he told them to get out of the house, implying that they may have gone up to the second floor with him, which we knew that part because even Bethany says that she saw Xana. I really wish that he would have mentioned something in here about the knife being on the floor. And again, he might later on, but I just really wish that it would have been mentioned in this section because it's important. It is mentioned in here how Hunter uses words like rigor mortis and how they were cold with no breath or pulse. And he says that it seems strange for a 20-year-old college student with no medical training to use those words. I guess I could see where it's a little strange that a 20-year-old knows rigor mortis, because that's not really something common.
What time did you?
It's listed right here too.
What time did we get there? I would say it was roughly either noon or 1, like somewhere around there.
And what time did you guys?
This is literally just a handful of like 2 hours maybe after the fact, and he is already like, I don't know if it was noon or 1. That's crazy to me, honestly.
We left their house and went to a different apartment at the Whitesides. I would say roughly
was this about
like
the day before?
2:30.
Was this about the day before?
Okay.
Listen to
So
this.
you guys left it at Game Town to get some.
What time did we get?
Okay, that was about the game before.
Okay. And what were you doing over there yesterday?
We were pre-gaming the football game for the families.
Gotcha. Was that there?
No, she was at work at the
And
football game.
remember, Hunter left his phone at 11:22. At some point.
What time did you get
Back to
to? You guys left it at Game Town to get some.
What time did we get there?
Yeah.
I would say it was roughly either noon or 1,
Okay.
like somewhere around there.
And what time did you guys leave?
We left their house and went to a different apartment at the Whitesides. I would say roughly like 2:30.
Okay.
And then everyone left and there was no one there.
Okay.
We all left together.
So last time you were there was 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time I was there?
the night before.
Okay.
Like the night before yesterday.
So that'd be what, Friday night?
Yes, Friday night.
Okay. So you walk in the door, and are in the
Also, don't forget that at 3:51 in the morning, as Dylan is creating a contact and Molly is walking down the street and you can see her on the 1112 camera, Emily Venmo's Xana $14 at 3:51 in the morning, just 8 minutes before the DoorDash is dropped off. So again, we don't know if, and this is part of the story, we don't know if Emily was purchasing an Addy from her, okay? Or if there was like a joint DoorDash order and she was giving her money for it. We don't know what that's about. But it was at 3:51 in the morning. And I only mention it because we don't know if Emily was physically in person with Xana at the time that she's sending her this money. Like she could have went over there to get something from Xana and paid her right then and there and had been at the house at 3:51. We don't really freaking know. If somebody just walked over there, I don't really think that it would be noticeable on their phone. So I don't know, but it's just interesting, the timing.
The bedroom down the first floor.
Yep.
Obviously, they're kind of freaked out. You see them.
Mm-hmm.
You head upstairs.
Yep.
Hit that open area where the kitchen and all that stuff is.
Yeah, like where the couches are. I walk in and then I look into Xana's room because the door was like somewhat open.
A, it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. B, every comment, every other comment has been about that, and it's like a lot. And like it's starting to like be the only thing anyone is looking at. Like I don't understand why that's like 20,000 messages. We get it. I've conversed with Connor, whoever Connor is. I've sent money to Connor. I've talked to Connor. Connor has given me information. I have given Connor information. Connor's great. Whoever Connor is. Chill.
Open.
Okay.
And then I like opened it and then I saw that and I told them to get out and call the cops.
Okay.
Because it seemed because I didn't know what I was seeing.
Okay, so right here, where all of this is quiet, he is saying that. Let me get back to it.
And then I told him to
Get out.
Okay, so he is saying here about he didn't notice that it was dry blood at the time. Where's the statement at? I literally freaking circled it. Where's it at? I could have sworn I circled the word dry where this statement was made. Maybe I didn't. Also, I did notice here that there are other acronyms for reports that I don't think we've seen before. Like, you know how our reports are ISP, The lab reports for the FBI say FBI lab report at the top. Pennsylvania says Pennsylvania. MPD says MPD. He is calling these Latah County prosecuting attorney supplemental reports, where some of this information is coming from. So does that mean that they're taking the MPD reports and just like renaming them? LCPA reports? Because that's what it seems like. Okay, so then he's going from Hunter's report. Okay, yeah, right here. On page 61, I found it. On page 61. I can't stop freaking coughing. It mentions how he didn't notice at first that it was dried blood. He thought at first they had just been drunk and left a mess, that when he stood there for a moment, he began to realize what he was seeing. And at that point, Dylan and Bethany were already uncontrollably crying. So that tells me they definitely understood before the 911 call was made exactly what they were looking at. Then it says here, Hunter said he checked for a pulse for both Xana and Ethan. We know that's not to be true because he tells Noons he hadn't checked on Ethan yet. It starts to mention how Hunter and Emily and Josie and Lyndon were going up the stairs. Doesn't mention anything about the damn knife being on the camera on the floor. Again, I don't understand why Hunter is claiming that he wasn't very familiar with Kaylee when he's in body cam twice being at the house for noise complaints. And one of them, he's like basically super chaperoning her, I guess is the word, while Kaylee's outside speaking to the officer. So I don't know why he has done so much to try to distance himself from her. It says that the actual timeline of what the two girls were doing between 4 and 12 was never fully established. That's another reason I don't believe this is everything in way of their timeline. I don't think it's everything. Because yeah, the whole point is that we need to know exactly where they went in that house, when they did it, when they left the room, what all they saw, where'd they go, what did they do? Because for that door to have been open, we don't know how long it was open. That's just the only report that we have about it being open. Then we also know that they're wanting us to believe that the back slider, the kitchen slider, was also partially open. And then the balcony area where there's a balcony from Kaylee's room was also left open. So we don't know if Kaylee left open the balcony before anything happened. We don't know who actually opened the slider. We don't know who actually opened and closed the front door. If it was the case that it was open, all of that stuff is just a mystery. Now, he also, like I said, he does mention how him claiming that he checked both their pulses is false, but he did tell the truth, or at least the other story, to Noons at the scene about how he hadn't checked on Ethan, which was a big shock. Remember when we first heard that, how big of a shock it was? Because for the longest time, we were told that it was Ethan's pulse that was checked, period, nothing at all about Xana, and then that it was Hunter that did it, just to find out of his own mouth that that's not true. See, this is another portion that's not true either. We know from Hunter Johnson's preceding transcribed interview with Officer Mowry that his girlfriend, Emily Allant, was the calm voice who took the phone from Bethany to speak with 911. Well, that we also know that's, well, like I just said, that's not true. It was Josie, but I will also continue to play this interview and ask the question, how would you know? How would he know? He was in the house. He told them to get out, to call 911. Emily and Josie and Lyndon are walking through the front door. They get up to the top of the steps, not even stepping foot onto the second floor. Emily sees the knife. Hunter comes down from Xana's room and tells them to get out. The 911 call is already on its way to being made. How does Hunter know? He stayed in the house the whole time.
Right. Anybody that you know that has it out or has a problem with Megan, Ethan, Xana? How long have they been dating? You know? Has it been a minute?
Yeah, they've been dating for a little bit.
Okay.
I want to say they've been dating, they were dating for like, I would say 8 months, probably.
No problem with Xana's ex or with Ethan have an ex?
He did, but she doesn't go here.
Okay, so maybe not anymore. Okay.
I don't know anyone who would have it out for him.
How well would you know Xana and, or not Xana, sorry, Maddie and Kaylee?
I knew Xana very well just because we were all friends. Yeah, we were all friends together and friends with Xana for a long time. Maddie, I like could be acquaintances with. I didn't really like know her that well. I just saw her at her house every once in a while and say hi and have conversations with her.
Okay.
But I didn't really know her super well like I knew Ethan and Xana.
Right.
And then Kylie, I didn't know really at all.
Okay. You were around, see anything, that's a deal. Nothing on social media, nothing's been posted, nothing going on around there.
So,
Okay. I'm gonna go grab my phone, not my phone, my camera. If you can have your phone, so I can grab some pictures of those.
Okay, so I blocked the Birdie account that was in here going insane about the Connor person. I know that a last name was put in the chat. It's not doxing because Connor himself, whoever they are, I think it's a dude, okay? They put their PayPal address very publicly on their community tab so people can donate. And anyone and everyone that has seen it sees that the name is Keith Hearn. It's very public. It's not that's not doxing. He has it himself on the community tab so people can donate to the FOIA fund for all the stuff that he's doing. So it's not doxing, but the conversation went a little stupid and it's ridiculous. Jeebus. Let's continue. He's about to come back in.
Those two. I'll be right back.
okay.
I don't know if he said so far anything about Emily being the one who took over the call.
This was the last text from yesterday. He sent this picture to me.
See if I
And
can
I
pull up
asked
the
if you guys are still like this. And he said, yeah, where you at?
Okay.
This was
Can I go back a little bit?
Sure.
You go with that? That's the afternoon. So that's him trying to get you to go to the party? Or is that him getting you?
This part right here was to go to the pregame at Xana house.
Gotcha.
This was the pregame, and then this was, I was asking about that party that night.
Right. And I'm just gonna grab.
I need his contact info.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in here about that.
Okay. Anything else you can think of? Anything that maybe talking about over the last couple of weeks that maybe been bothering them, or?
No, I can't think of anything, honestly.
Okay. Who else? I don't know anybody out there, so it's kind of weird for me saying, hey, I'll just take the next number, serial number 4 now, whatever it is. It's kind of gay. Who else out there should I talk to sooner than others that I didn't get maybe them on their way and go to their...
You already talked to that, right? I'm pretty sure someone already talked to her.
So.
And then already talked to...
I talked to Dylan.
There's the... Our Ethan's twins.
Okay. And what was the other one? So we have 2. Okay.
These are some Maisie and Hunter's names.
Didn't go into the house.
Okay.
I don't think he would be much help, but you could talk to him if you wanted to. Also didn't go into the house, really. Like, I told them to get out as soon as they got in. Was walking up the stairs when I told her to get out.
Really?
I'm the only one that I know saw anything.
Okay.
Like, at least I don't think them saw it because they were too scared to like go check it out.
Okay. And I will have to see if I can talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Obviously, if there's anything that comes up, pops up, with it's kind of an event like this that's traumatic, a lot of times things will just kind of...
Yeah, he didn't say, as far as I can tell, anything in this specific interview, unless for some reason it was redacted, about Emily being the one that took the phone from Bethany. Because again, he wasn't outside. I think it's the Patterson book. And again, we don't know how accurate it is, other than it's already full of shit. But he did talk to them for that damn Patterson book. And in the Patterson book, you guys probably remember this, that was when we read a portion that said that Hunter was left inside the house after everyone left, and before the cops got there, he was left inside the living room. Now, when we see the cop get there and he's at the doorway, so we only know like the 2 perceptions of what they're trying to say that he was doing. I'm not really quite sure how many minutes he would have been inside the house before. 2-3 minutes, maybe at the most. Maybe. But according to whatever he says in his interview with the people that wrote that stupid ass book, he was in the house the whole time. He didn't go back outside. So as the 911 calls being made, he wouldn't have been privy to any of that. And again, in the Amazon series, Josie says it herself. Let me see if I can pull it up. Ooh. Josie says it herself that she is the one that took the phone, but for some reason, she says she took it from Dylan. And even though you can't see it, in the video itself, it's Dylan's picture that they put up on the screen.
No. Anything.
I hear that?
And Dylan was the one that was on the phone with 911.
Josie
and I had
talking.
to take the phone from her because she was so completely hysterical. They're like, what's the address? What's the address? What's the address? I was like, 1122 King Road. She was like, well, what happened? I was like, I don't know.
Get tossed around.
That's Josie. She says she took the phone from Dylan, but we know it wasn't Dylan. We know that it was Bethany, but that is Josie claiming that it was her. And if you do the voice comparison, it's definitely not Emily on the phone. It's definitely not Dylan. I mean, it's definitely not Dylan, and it's definitely not Emily. It was Dylan that called Emily to get there, but it was not Dylan who made the 911 call, and it was not Emily on the phone. So again, I don't know where he has said that in here, unless again it was something that was redacted, but that's what it says right here. That the transcript of the interview says that We know from Hunter Johnson's preceding transcribed interview with Officer Mowry that his girlfriend Emily Lalonde was the calm voice who took the phone over from Bethany to speak with 911 operator Calvin, and that's not accurate. So then it goes on to talking about Jenna, and the information with Jenna is really interesting. The information with Jenna is really interesting because she is calling Bethany. Bethany's calling her. She's trying to figure out what the hell is going on, what Bethany's trying to tell her. And it says here that in the same report here that he talks to Jenna, which y'all were right, there is multiples here, which I don't know why the hell they did that, but okay. He talks to Jenna, and Jenna says that she can hear Dylan in the background say, I saw something. See right here? Now, this is also after Dylan has apparently gone upstairs at 11 o'clock in the morning, because the calls with Jenna are happening Jenna sends a text to Bethany at 11:20 to see if she's awake. And the activity about Dylan going up 2 flights of stairs was at 11 o'clock, 20 minutes before that. 20 minutes before that time frame. Bethany was, I swear the original story, and I think Jenna even mentions this, that Bethany was supposed to already like go somewhere with Jenna, and I think that's why Jenna was trying to get a hold of her to begin with. But then I swear what we heard, because we talked about this too, what we heard in, I think it was Jenna's interview, basically she was like, she was on the phone with Bethany, and she was asking Bethany if she needed to come and pick them up. And Bethany tells her to hold on, and then she like hung up the phone on her. And then instead of calling her back, she texts her something. And I was like, why would you say hold on and then hang up on someone? That's not how I do things. That's a little strange. So I wish we had some more context about what was happening in that conversation. So it goes on to just talk about how Jenna talks about not going to Sigma Chi, but being at Allie's, where Bethany and Dylan both ended up the night before they went home. It talks about the sorority affiliations and about how she was then at Pi Beta Phi. He says here that the sorority affiliation would prove important down the line, so I hope that he has factual receipt information for that, because there's already been a lot of questions when it comes to the Greek row handled things. Now, this is also where he puts in here, once investigators learned that Kaylee had moved away from Moscow but returned for the weekend primarily to attend a Pi Beta Phi formal as Dylan's +1. I hate the fact that we still have so many discrepancies over that entire thing, because she didn't move out of there. There's nothing to prove that she moved out of there. That was a rumor in the beginning because she wasn't there the entire week, and then slowly we started learning the truth. And the truth was that she hadn't moved out of there, that there was a +1 formal. But and the way that it's told is that Dylan went and like physically in person asked Kaylee to be her +1. Because the first story that came out of Christy's mouth was that Dylan was hesitant to go down there for this party with Dylan. And that hesitance and the fact that we were being told a story that wasn't true is a huge reason why so many people were like, so she was hesitant. Her gut was telling her not to go. And then she went and look what the frick happened. And just like the irony of those statements really got people's attention. And even that we don't have clarity on. Even that we don't really have clarity on. But now we're also being told that it wasn't just like the formal on Friday night, that the little party that took place on Saturday at the Wynn girls' house, that Kaylee was actually part of the hosting party for that. Like she wasn't just going to attend the White's party. She was hosting it. So that's another obligation that she had that weekend to be back in Moscow. 1 second. Okay. So yeah, that's something I wish we had some more consistent information on. Now, also when it comes to the dark figure staring at Kaylee from the tree line as she took Murphy out to go to the bathroom. I mentioned this before. I still haven't had the chance to go in and like clip all of these to like show you exactly how everything is being worded, because verbiage matters. It really sounds like going in and listening to Xana, to all the other interviews, minus the girls that Kaylee was at lunch with in September with a whole different story, okay? It seems like Bethany was the only one that Kaylee actually called and told about the guy that was outside looking at her at the dumpster. That story. Because as Dylan, as Hunter, as like everybody is like repeating it, it's all after talking to Redacted, after we sat down and tried to think of stuff, after we sat down and tried to think back, like it's nobody saying besides Bethany that they heard that directly from Kaylee about that one incident. So like everyone's repeating it because now it's a topic of conversation. But it seems like Bethany was the only one that Kaylee called, and then like no one ever talked about it. It was never mentioned to anyone else. That's sort of how, like, not sort of, that is how it's definitely being talked about, except for the fact that those girls from September have a whole nother story. And some of that information also goes back to like the end of the semester before, which is interesting too, because that was one of the rumors that we sort of heard in the beginning, that Kaylee might have had a stalker situation happening since around May of 2022, which precedes Kohberger ever being there. So there's that too. Now, he also includes Lyndon's interview in here. And I understand like why he's wanting to put in all the inconsistent reports and stuff like that. But when we have phone records that prove that someone just has the timestamp wrong in their head and it doesn't actually mean shit, it shouldn't be put in here as something to try to say that somebody's statements are inconsistent. So if I'm sitting here taking up for something when it comes to Dylan's timeline, that should tell you that this is important, okay? So right here, he talks about how Lyndon said Dylan had called Emily around 10 a.m. and sounded scared. So then he says, at the bottom, it says, though no one knew it at the time, Dylan calling Emily at 10 o'clock Sunday morning provides the first apparent contradiction to her story. But it doesn't, because he himself went in here and put all of the phone records in. And while, yes, Dylan was sending snap messages at 10 o'clock in the morning, Okay. Snap messages at 10 o'clock in the morning. She doesn't actually call Emily until 11:50. So the reason why it matters that he's saying that Emily got a call from Dylan at 10 o'clock in the morning when it wasn't is because he says that she sounded scared. So if you're sending like a text message, the person sitting next to you is not going to be able to hear the tone or even know like what the message is saying unless you're showing it to them. So I don't know how somebody can sound scared in a text message if you're not reading it, and he's calling it a call. So I'm assuming that means that he is hearing Dylan's voice, which would have been what he heard at 11:50. So I don't know if they actually got messages from Dylan at 10 o'clock in the morning and like didn't go over there or anything like that until she called at 11:50. But the problem that we have with everything that Dylan apparently did whatever freaking blew in with this storm has been blowing my freaking blah everywhere. Okay. The contents are all unknown. See that? Everything in way of these messages, everything about it is unknown. And she got 2 messages back. And then 2 minutes after she sends out 7 messages and gets 2 back, she's on Indeed at 10:03. And then she's instantly back to snapping right after. Someone just asked when's the last time she attempted to contact the victims. $10:30. An hour and a half before the 911 call. It says, Dylan texts Kaylee, are you up at 10:29? And I don't see anything else in a way. Oh, no. At 11:23, it says that Dylan sends a snap to Maddie asking if she's up. Oh, no, that's not true either. See, I don't know why he put this shit in here like this. It's confusing. It's confusing the way he puts it. So on his timeline, he has, or whoever freaking wrote this shit, it says at 11:23, Dylan sends a snap to Maddie per her interview on 11:17. But then in the box, he has, but the phone records show that it was 10:23. See that? So if you move that to where it freaking actually goes, which is an hour ahead, then yeah, what I said is accurate. An hour and a half before the 911 call was the last time that she tried to contact Maddie or Kaylee. Yik yak, TikTok. Dylan sends more messages at 11:30 via Snapchat. Then Dylan gets messages from her dad at 11:40. Bethany calls Xana at 11:49, and then Dylan calls Emily at 11:50. 10:30. 10:30 was the last. 10:23 was the last time she tried to contact any of the victims, according to this timeline. And prior to that, it shows 4:32 Dylan sends a message to Kaylee. And then at 5 o'clock, it says that there's movement that Dylan traveled 30.77. I don't know if that's feet or meters. I'm thinking that it's probably meters. I'm guessing this was Apple Watch distance. Measurements. Meters. Apple Watch measures distance in meters by default. However, it can be displayed as feet depending on the region or the settings. Okay, well, region or settings. So does that mean that since it was in the United States that it would be feet? And then I typed in the unit of measurement instead of is it feet or meters. And I just typed in Apple Watch distant unit of measurement. And it says that it's actually based on miles by default. The Apple Watch measures distance in miles by default, but you can easily change it to kilometers based on your preferences. By default, the Apple Watch uses miles. So how many feet is 30.77 of a mile? No, that doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't even make any sense. $30.77. I'm going to assume it's feet, right? Wouldn't it make more freaking sense? How many feet is that then? How many feet is 30.77 of a mile? No, that's not how that's going to work. No, that's what I mean to convert it differently. That's not going to work. I'm going to assume it's feet. I mean, I'll just call them. I'm just going to call Apple tomorrow. Be like, hey, I have a question. I'll call any Apple store should be able to actually answer it. But it's probably feet because it said by region. So I'm going to assume since it's the United States, it would be feet. Okay. So then we have, let's see. So then he has how Lyndon states that as they walked in, Dylan and Bethany walked out of the house crying. We also heard that they had like their hands over their faces. Now it shows, so that's going from talking about Lyndon and his recollection to now Noon's body cam being brought back up. Now this is where he then says, well, if you go back to Officer Noon's body cam, you can see blah, 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 blah. And now he includes Lyndon and Josie. That's why I said the way that he wrote this is stupid. Because in the beginning, he's comparing Noon's report, which doesn't have anything or any names at all when it comes to Emily or Josie or Lyndon, none of that. He only mentions Dylan, Bethany, and Hunter. Pretty sure he maybe mentions Jack Decor, but he doesn't mention the other ones at all. At all. So he can't sit there and say in chapter 1 that he's trying to compare the report to the camera when he's getting information about Emily incorrect, and Emily is not mentioned in Noon's report, but it's being incorrectly stated by Chris Whitcomb. So there's no reason for him to have not automatically been in chapter 1 talking about the fact that Josie and Lyndon were out there because, again, Josie's the one that was on the 911 call, not Emily. So the way that he did this was confusing, especially to somebody who knows the facts of the case. I can't imagine how sort of lost somebody who didn't know the facts would feel reading that after the fact, because it's like, hold on, you didn't mention these people at all. Now, all of a sudden, you're bringing it up after the fact. It wasn't a very good strategic plan, in my opinion. I'm not a professional, but that was just weird the way that he put this in here. Again, he keeps calling them LCPA supplements, so I don't know. Maybe I can actually FOIA the prosecuting attorney's office for their supplemental records so that I can compare them back and forth to the ones we got from Moscow. Because I wonder if stuff started getting numbered incorrectly and there started being issues there too. Okay, so this is where he starts talking about John Lawrence. I guess I'll use his first name. It's probably easier. Maybe not because of Talbot. Okay, so we have this one right here, which is number 7. Okay. So in Lawrence's report, he says it's a 2-page report. Yeah. Is it? 1, 2. Yeah, it's a 2-page report. Number 7. It says, through the 2-page document, it provides a considerable amount of information. Its greatest value at this point is that it records the names, ranks, and affiliations of law enforcement personnel on the scene at 11/13. Yeah, there's a lot. Talks about Mike Mooney being called, Detective Vargas being called, but she was out of town at the time. Gilbertson, Roger Lanier, Dustin Blaker, Brett Payne. It talks about all of them. I don't understand if he's trying to say that it's a bad thing that MPD reached out to multiple agencies or not so quickly. I mean, if they wouldn't have, I would have felt like that was even more of a red flag. But they instantly called in the Idaho State Police, and then the FBI was already on scene like same day, but officially became part of the case on Monday. Okay. This next section I feel is very similar to this other situation. Okay. So do you guys remember how we were talking about how the Goncalves family wanted to push the law about no photos of the bodies coming out, right? Because they didn't want them out there, which I understand. Like that wasn't even like my problem at all. Do what you got to do. I completely get it. I don't want to see that either. I don't. I feel like it's horrible, beyond horrible. And I would prefer to see the scene itself and everything with their bodies like blurred without the big black boxes, because I don't want to see Kaylee's face. I'm sorry, not sorry about it. I don't want to see that. I get it. I can imagine it enough. I don't want to see it. The problem I have is that Olivia came out here acting like there had to be some sort of law passed so that those things didn't come out because of the families and how the families would react to that stuff. But there was already something in place, right? Which is the whole reason why when that drop of photos came out in January, they were immediately taken back when they realized that Xana wasn't redacted. There was already something in place. So when she's sitting here talking about the effects of seeing the body photos, that's her fault. That's Olivia's fault because Olivia specifically asked to see them. They weren't released, and she came across pictures of her sister's bludgeoned face on Facebook. She specifically went and asked and then acted based off of something that didn't happen. Because she's acting based off of something leaking, something coming out into the public, something being on the internet. But in reality, if she wouldn't have asked anything, she would have never seen it because it would have never come out. We know that, or at least with the laws in place, it would have never came out. I feel like the same situation happens here because he makes a comment about Nunes and says that the things that Nunes says in his body cam could have been seen as judgmental or premature. And he's talking about how, like, it's out there on Dateline NBC and, like, all these things, and people would have maybe seen him as judgmental or premature in his thinking about Ethan. But just like the bullshit with Olivia about how none of that came out to the public and she did that to herself and no one else knows what the hell she's talking about, same situation here. We don't know what the hell Chris is talking about. We don't have the footage where we can physically hear Noon say that he thinks that Ethan did that. Now, we know that they're talking about it later on in camera footage that was done through a FOIA that Connor put out. 2 different hours. There's still some time of that missing. But what do you mean there would have been there's judgment in, like, thinking that the statements he made were prematurely made and judgmental when we didn't hear any of those statements? Does that make sense? What I'm like, how I'm trying to compare those? Like, we wouldn't have even known about something until Chris came out and said it. And we still don't know that it exists because we haven't heard it ourselves. So I don't know why he puts this portion in there, because it just felt weird because we didn't hear any of those things. Only Chris did. At least in this whole scenario, only Chris did. Now, this part right here is also a lie, which I've already shown y'all. It says here, we know Nunes and Warner left the house for approximately 1 minute and 7 seconds before returning and then deciding to clear it from the first floor to the third. See at the bottom there? And that's not true. Warner never left. Warner never left. Nunes walks out to the car and gets crime scene tape, walks back towards the house. Nunes is at the door the entire time. So I don't know why he said that, because that's not true. I feel like this girl should sue him. And I low-key hope she does. For real. There is no reason in hell why Home Dude had to put the name of the person who owned the vehicle before Kaylee in this book. There was no reason for Chris Whitcomb to put a target on this girl's back from all of the crazies that are out here on the internet with this case. What was the point in putting her name in here? What was the point in that? The damn Range Rover was given over to the dealership, and it had not had enough time in order for all of the changes for that situation to take place in the system by the time that Kaylee rolled around and saw it and wanted it. Why would you put this girl's freaking name in here when, as of the time that the reports were being made and they were contacting the dealership, everything in way of the transfer of title was officially showing it in Kaylee's name? Him putting this girl's name in here was careless. She needs to sue him. There's no reason for it to be in here. And then all of his bullshit insinuations in his live interviews about, like, could she have known her? Do you go by the dealership and say, oh my God, that's my friend's car, I'm going to go buy it? Well, that's just not normal. That's not an average thing. Why are you putting this information in here? It's on the same stupid ass level of us asking who the hell Erica is and him being like, oh, I really struggled with putting that in there, but it doesn't matter. You'll never track her down. Why did he put this in here? He needs to be sued. Miss Sumner, Sue this idiot. Because I can imagine she's getting emails. She's probably going to have people like doing all kind of dumb shit. Because we know how people are in this case. I don't know why the hell he decided to do that shit. Now, this is where I need some more clarification on what this report actually says. Because apparently the situation about Kaylee's name being said by the strange voice is also in this report. It says, Lawrence continues, and this is about John Lawrence. Supplement number 7. And in it, he repeats the whole, it's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you thing that was said in Talbot's report. And I don't think that that's said in here. And I could be wrong, so I wanted to look back over it. I responded to the scene, found 4 deceased college-age people in the residence. I told Gunderson I needed someone from his team to return to the police department to start writing an affidavit, so Officer Nunes went to handle the task. Have we seen the original search warrant for the house? I don't know if we've seen, like, I know that we've seen it, like, a picture of it or whatever, but I don't think anyone has come out with the actual affidavit. So I might try to get that too. Like the original one that says that they're looking for ammunition and shit like that, like all of the paperwork. Because Nunes had to write up some sort of semi-report for that, right? Like he should have had to. So I would love to know what his original search warrant report says. Unless it is his actual report we've already read and it was added to that. But I'm going to FOIA it and find out. Okay, let's see if he says anything in here about Kaylee's name being mentioned. Okay, walked through the residence from the entrance north side of the building. Officer Warner, who was securing the scene, logged my entrance into the residence. I then went up to the west bedroom on the 2nd floor, climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, located 2 deceased females. Saw the deceased female on the floor and the male on the bed on the 2nd floor. 2 females on the 3rd floor were still in the bed. Spoke with Officer Smith, who was securing the residence at the south entrance for a moment, and then I exited the residence through the north entrance. Officer Warner noted my departure. I called Gilbertson and informed him of the additional information provided to me and what I had seen. I told him MPD would be needing their assistance. I returned to the police department. Complete the task canvassing. This is where Jeff Kernodle walks up and got to the police station. This is where they sent a death notification out for Stephen Christie, getting Maddie's address. There's nothing in this report There's nothing in John Lawrence's report about Kaylee's name being mentioned. And this is whose report he's talking about. John Lawrence, supplement number 7. So yeah, this is wrong. Because John Lawrence's report doesn't mention anything about that. Unless there's like something that we're not seeing here. Because in the bottom of this, he also says that John Lawrence, and this is John Lawrence, this is supplement freaking 7. This is exactly the one that he's talking about. And it says here, regarding Dylan, it says, sometimes in the early morning hours, Mortensen was awoken and opened her room door, 2nd floor, and heard a male say, "It's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you," and crying. She then shut the door. A short while later, she opened the door again and saw someone approximately 5'10", dressed in all black with a ski mask standing in the kitchen. She made eye contact with the person. It could see they were Caucasian through the cutouts of the eyes, which we know is not true because that wasn't said at all. That wasn't said literally at all. Literally at all. And if we go back up to Talbot's, let's see, where was it? Which one is this? This is 16. Okay, here we go. If we go back up to Talbot's initial report, for the 13th, he is the only one that says, it's okay, Kaylee. Okay, see, this is proof again. Okay. In this excerpt that he is saying for John Lawrence, he is verbatiming, whatever. You see that? It's an exact verbatim copy paste. He has the person wrong in the book. The report is page number 91 of 556 when it comes to the ISP reports. Jeffrey Talbot, right here. And in this, he's claiming that this report that he is putting in the book is from John Lawrence. And that is wrong. That is beyond wrong. Yeah, and it actually does incorrectly say right here that she mentioned the fact that the person was Caucasian because she saw it through the cutouts of the eyes. That is nowhere near even true. Nowhere near even true. Remember, actually, in her interview later on, I think on the 17th, she said that she knew they were white. She just didn't know how. She just knew that they were. Some weird shit like that. So, no, he has the person in here incorrect, and the context is crazy as hell. And he continues to say on the next page that it was Lawrence that wrote it. See? He continues putting Lawrence's name in here, and this is not who wrote this report. Yeah. That's it for that chapter. Seems like I guess all of these are going to be about 3 hours long since we go to pull things up. And see, I can be proven wrong about something that I highlighted as we're going through it, and I don't have an issue with saying, oh shit, I forgot that. Or, oh, I had that written in here incorrectly. Because he does have those reports being written on December 6th, with his, which is odd. But I don't believe that that handwritten note is his. I think that that's a chick. Where did all of my freaking paper clippies go? So, where I'm right, I'm right. Where I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Where I'm right, he's wrong. Where I'm wrong, he's right. It's not a big deal. The whole point is to make sure that the facts are what's out there. And if I'm wrong on something, then we will prove that and fix it. And I was wrong about December 6th. Okay, so we've got this one right here. Okay, so the next chapter is the one that's titled Princess Pose, White Claw, and Stain number 26. Stain number 26. Which stain is that? Is that the the undiluted stain of Ethan? Because 23 and 24 are on the wall that are Maddie and Kaylee. Well, one of them is a major component of Kaylee, and the other one, I believe, is a major component of Xana. I mean, not Xana, Xana of Maddie. On the wall where the stairs are, Let me see something. See, the amendment is mentioned more than once in Sutton's report. It's mentioned here too how there was a change. Okay, hold on. I want to see what stain number 26 is. I'm pretty sure it's in the common room. It is still raining. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Okay, right, no. Okay, 26 is right here on the wall. Here's the information for 26. Stain 26 on the half wall of the second floor living room at the end of the beer pong table is depicted in that image. Stain 26 is diluted cast off with associated flow stains, diluted by another liquid. Flow stains as demonstrated on stain 26 result from gravitational attraction. Additional testing of stain 26 shows the presence of a mixture of DNA. Kaylee Goncalves matches the major. Maddie Mogen is the potential contributor to the minor component, and that would be here. That would be right here. I wonder why he chose that one. I guess because of the White Claw. See, we know that this one right here on the outside of the rail is Ethan. And there's no dilution at all to this one. And we also know from the original photos that this is also where like the White Claw box was. This is the DNA or whatever, the blood that was covered up by the White Claw box was right here in this side. So we have the undiluted stain of Ethan on this side of this. And then we have the mixture of Kaylee and Maddie of very diluted blood with a gravitational line on the opposite side. And then this crazy shit over here. Undiluted, diluted, diluted, diluted. It's so freaking weird, bro. Yeah. So I don't know why he's choosing that one. I'm sure there's a reason. Because there's so freaking many samples all over that house. Holy shit. Quite literally, holy shit. Ugh. All right, you guys. Okay. I am going to go ahead and wrap all of this up. Okay. Go ahead and wrap up. Oh, God. Sorry. I am tired. I couldn't fall asleep until like 4 o'clock in the morning yet last night. Well, I guess you can say this morning, like 3, 4 o'clock this morning. And then my grocery order got here at like 7:30. So I was up, and then I planned on trying to take a little bit of a nap before I went live earlier because I took off today, and that didn't happen. I couldn't fall back asleep. I'm tired. But it's Friday, so we're going to be up like playing and everything, but tomorrow's Saturday. I don't think I have my live scheduled for tomorrow yet, right? Because I wanted to just like get up and then plan it for tomorrow morning. I don't think I have it scheduled yet. Let me make sure. No. Okay. So I'll get up in the morning and figure that out. I don't know. We're going to go over an interview. I just don't know which one yet. And then we'll continue on with chapter 3 tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of her. Oh, I missed that. Thank you for the 999s, Trish. I appreciate that. And welcome, Sandra. Welcome. Thank you for the $4.99, Nanya. Thank you for being here, Becca. I hope everything goes well for you. And thank you again for the 5, Lori. And thank you again for the 10, JLL. I hope everything works out for you, too. Everybody's going through some crazy stuff. I do want to sit down. Probably over the next couple of days. We'll go live during the day. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe that'll be our live Tuesday morning. Either Tuesday morning or Thursday morning, one of the two. We'll go live and we'll go back over the reports. The Sutton and Turvey reports. Because there's that one. And then there was, I think there was like another one from something with his rebuttal on it that we still need to go over. And like this other drop of exhibits that came in that we still didn't get out there yet. I cannot stop yawning. Oh my God. Isn't that crazy how yawns are contagious? Like even the cats will yawn, and I'll yawn after the cats. And then I've also noticed sometimes whenever I've yawned, the dogs will yawn after me. Poor guys. All right, y'all have a super, super great night. Try to get some rest. Try to stay dry. It's raining in all kinds of different places. Y'all be super, super safe. Again, thank you so much for being in here with me tonight when you could have been literally anywhere else, but you chose to be here. I very much do appreciate it. Again, y'all have a really safe night. See y'all. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that the notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives.